To be like Christ is to be of service. Christianity is about servant leadership. Today's gospel continues the journey of the disciples with Jesus in the Galilee region of the north. And it starts out that Jesus is explaining to them again the Paschal mystery, the suffering, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus. They still don't get it. I'm not sure we don't get it either. It's one of those things that's a mystery that unfolds over one's lifetime. And in this scenario of the gospel, the disciples are still just learning what that means. The scene then shifts to Capernaum, which is the kind of the close area of where Jesus gathered his disciples. We suspect it's also the home where Peter's house is. And in that gospel passage that says they came to Capernaum, and inside the house, they suspect it's Peter's house. But Jesus asked the disciples, "What were you arguing about on the way here?" He talked about the Paschal mystery, and then to get to Capernaum, there's an argument on the way. The disciples are silent, but the gospel tells us they were arguing about who is the greatest. Who's going to sit on the right and on the left? Jesus is the Messiah, so yay, we get the first chairs. Human ego is in the way, and they're totally missing the point of what it means to be like Christ. So then, Jesus takes a child at the household, in the part of the family, and places them in front of them and says, if you want to be great, you have to be like this child, the least. And if you want to be a servant of my disciple, you have to serve everyone. Now, the child, sometimes we think symbolizes innocence and wonder of life, and that is all good. And I think we're called to that too. But the point of Jesus bringing a child is that this child represents those that are helpless, those that have no legal status. At the time of Jesus, they had no legal status. Children did not have legal status. The point is, Jesus says, when you help those that are outcast, those that have no legal status in our world, those that are outcast, those that are unloved, that are unwanted, that are thrown on the streets, those that cannot pay you back, when you are able to love and serve them with a generous love that expects nothing in return, then you are being like Christ. When love has no conditions and no limits, that is the point of service. If you want to be first, you need to be last, part of the least of these in the world, and serve others. It gave a lot for the disciples to think about at the end of the gospel. We don't know where the argument, the silence, or the conversation happened afterwards. So this week, let us pay attention to how we serve others, especially others that are not like us, and how we serve those, the least of these in our world, in our society, in our neighborhood. How we serve those that have no legal status, that have no way to pay us back. How do we love? Are there any expectations in how we love one another? Because to be the greatest with God is to be servant of all people. Amen.